From Rixie, this is Debuff, and I'm your host, Steve Skeels.
Yeah, so I was asking if you had ever heard or seen the Twitter account at NYT_first_said New York Times. New York Times, yeah.
I have not.
Nope.
And they tweet words when they appear for the first time within the New York Times, like articles. And it's so funny to see words come up like 2019, the word dead ass. It's like that's their pinned tweet.
That's funny.
Yeah. The one that came up the other day that I was laughing about was chest feeding.
Chest feeding?
Yeah.
All right.
What does that mean, though?
Another term for breastfeeding, but
Yeah, dude.
We're already in, so just
All right.
I want to keep that
Yeah.
in. So
Welcome.
We're in.
Welcome back to Debuff. Bringing you another great episode with
Just
the boys.
another great episode.
Sean, Mason, how you guys doing today?
Doing all right.
I added sounds to the soundboard.
Nice.
I added more sounds. And I think I have one that you guys are really going to enjoy, assuming it's not too loud.
Walkie slush.
Yes.
50% walkie.
50% walkie.
We've been laughing about that for like a month now.
Well, so do you want to explain, like, do you know where you saw that for the first time, Sean?
TikTok.
You showed it to us.
Yeah,
I think you should.
I'd seen it.
Oh, you had
well,
seen it?
hold on. No, that's a lie. You're
I
right.
had
I
not
hadn't
seen
seen
it.
the actual video. I've heard the sound before, but Sean showed us the original.
Yeah. It's so I don't,
Walkie slush.
Dude, I listened to it so many times today. I was so happy that I found
I
it.
really don't know the origination of that.
The
Like,
origination.
Yeah, like
did
where the term came from.
well, yeah. I mean, how did that occur? But yeah, it was a viral video that went on TikTok, and I saw it. I think it got deleted since the original.
Yeah, I mean they're drinking lean in a.
Yeah, basically.
Yes. So what I remember, because you showed it to us, and like the beginning of the video, it's a guy showing like a Sprite bottle that he's pouring like codeine into, and he's like, "That thing bleeding to the." Nah, I mean.
And the guy in the background says,
Walkie slush.
"Yeah,
And it's like, it's
no idea."
the juxtaposition of like accents is so weird.
Yeah,
Let's see. I've got a couple. Let's see. I think I have. Oh, you're gonna like this one, because you've said this to me before.
Nice cock.
Yeah, dude. I've used that in and out of context. You know.
Nice. So for those of you listening, it is kind of hard to hear because of the chatter in the background. But when you could probably explain it better than I do.
I mean, it's just what like Wii Bowling or really any bowling alley. There'll be like, nice shot or nice, you just bowl the spare. And
Yeah.
there's been a bunch of these TikToks coming out of people dubbing over it, but the first one I saw was the Wii Bowling, and when he bowls it, it comes up and it's like nice cock. But people have been saying that on TikTok for a while. I feel like I don't know who did the first, but when I saw the fucking like Wii Bowling one, I was dying.
Nice cock. This one was from SpongeBob. This was kind of just I don't know. I thought this is a funny one.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
Yeah.
That's an old meme. This one's for Sean,
Yes, thank you.
the nom nom from Minecraft. Let's see. Oh, this is mostly for Sean, but do you like Zelda games? Kind of.
I mean, I've only played a couple. I wouldn't say. Yeah, I played that one.
You should have hit that when you told me before we started recording that you were not listening to me.
Yeah. Hey, don't
Hey,
listen.
I love
I'm gonna go through these quickly so we don't waste like a half hour on it,
All
because I added like 10 new sounds. Danny Gonzalez, really funny YouTuber, has a second channel. Have you seen Danny Gonzalez stuff? He's kind of in the same vein as Drew Gooden. They're like best friends.
I think maybe if Sean's played some, I mean,
He used to be on Vine, but
yeah.
he started playing Minecraft as a joke, and so I added 3 sounds from his like Minecraft Let's Play. This is the first one.
Okay, that was kind of an epic fail.
Pretty good. An iteration on that same one.
In terms of fails, that was pretty epic.
And then This one I think is funny. He was planting like crops.
I think this is about to be an epic gamer melon moment.
The fuck, dude?
Really good.
Dude, it's so weird to think about that there are YouTubers out there that I'm older than. Like,
Is he
I'm
what is
older
he?
than Drew and Danny.
Are they like 26?
Danny's 26. Drew is 27.
Okay, so he's my age. I assumed
mean-
Drew was older than me, and I assumed Danny Gonzalez was my age. So that's interesting.
It's just weird because I watch them and I'm like, man, they're so funny. And not
Yeah.
saying that someone younger than you can't be funny, but I just always picture them to be older.
Yeah, it is odd. This one, there's only 5 more, but I'll go through them quick. I think they're all LPC.
So
You're
these
not
ones are-
alone.
You're not alone.
These are for
You're
you
not
guys.
alone.
So whenever one of us has like something to say, and I agree or you agree, all from the same LPC 13 medley, I think.
Dude, I can barely compose myself here.
Here.
I'm very upset. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be unprofessional.
And then the one that we should have added like 3 months ago,
Oh my god.
we have an oh my gaga button.
Nice. Real quick before you get off of those, I was on a call today at work, and somebody I think had to have been like, we do a lot of the like EDE connection for our calls now, right? Yeah. The over the air or what is it, voice over IP. Anyways, dude was like talking to his laptop, and it's not great if you've ever had anyone use their laptop mic to speak.
They can be all right.
Well,
It can be.
They can be bad, though.
It can be bad.
So he kept getting echoes when other people talk, and he'd mute. But we got to a point where he kept chopping up, and it sounded like LPC's editing, where he kept like glitching in and out and talking, and it didn't mess with his pitch like that much, but because of the way it kept skipping, it was so weird. And I sat there for a minute, and just because of fucking listening to LPC, I'm like, is this guy doing it on purpose?
He was like, "Hey guys, it's Josh."
Yeah, I was just like, what the? It was so funny.
Dude, I would love to figure out how he does that and do it on fucking conference calls, because
And just like, don't say anything about it.
Yeah.
People be like, "Hey, Sean, I think there's something going on with your computer there," and you're like,
Oh my god.
Sean, we're getting a lot of interference.
some kind of
I'm
interference.
very upset. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be unprofessional.
Strikingly unprofessional.
strikingly unprofessional.
Nice.
That one's loud. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that one down. Let's go down to
Oh my god.
30%. Okay. Can I start?
Yeah, go for
No.
it.
So
You have my permission.
I already
ahead, dude.
started. I don't know what the fuck
No.
I'm talking about.
Why don't you just have the whole fucking show, dude?
Dude, this is my fucking show now.
I mean,
Um,
it's our show.
so
So
this is really weird, and I want you to just try and get into my head space for it, and just try and level with me. So, have you guys ever heard of the law of attraction? Have you heard that saying?
I mean, maybe. I feel like you got to give me a definition.
So, to the best of my knowledge, and I'm probably going to butcher it, so I'll put it on screen or I'll have Sean read it.
Oh, fuck off, dude.
Well, I don't.
Oh,
it might
yeah.
not be what I think it. I'm just using it as a jumping off point. Essentially, what I know is like when you think about something, it tends to show up more, or like almost like
Okay.
I think the law of attraction is like if you think about something enough, you can will it into being.
Yeah, it's
Is that kind of what-
manifestation.
Yeah, and it's not really that. It's just that's kind of the way I was thinking about it. So I'm gonna do my best to explain this. So a week ago, I think, maybe less than a week, I got on my Spotify, like it's not. I think it's Discover Weekly is what it's called. I
True.
got a track from the ever popular Dreamcast game. Sorry, I'm spitting. Jet Set Radio. Did we talk about this?
We talked about you talking about Jet
Yeah.
Set Radio.
You know that game? So it's by a guy named Hideki something. Can't think
Yeah, I
of
think
it.
you had me play it on the
Yeah,
Google.
that's
Chrome.
right. Yeah. And So I went to, just because I wanted to know a little bit more about it. Do you guys ever go to discogs.com and like look at the?
No.
Have you ever used Discogs?
Is it discographies?
My camera might have just cut off.
Oh really?
I'm getting a phone call.
Okay, well that's
Yep.
okay.
All right, well, I'm gonna
That's
just
okay.
start it up again.
Just start it up.
Anyway, discogs.com.
Have you ever used it?
No.
Oh, well,
Oh, yes, I have.
I would say if you like, music at all, I would definitely say look at it because you can find out like cool things about the group, like maybe who did the artwork or who manages the group for that album. Or
I mostly used it to find out what releases.
yeah,
a certain.
that's a great. It's obviously discography. You can look at all the releases and usually like if the person or the artist is like well known enough, they will like have like everything they've ever done, good and bad. And so, long story short, I go to Discogs to look up the Jet Set Radio soundtrack because I was like, well, I would love to see if I could maybe buy it on CD or even potentially buy it on vinyl because that would be a really cool thing to have, even just as like a shelf piece. And I see that the name of the record label that put out the album is a record label called Polydor Records, Pollydor. So I was like, that's interesting. I go to their page. They've got like 1,300 pages on discogs.com. They've been releasing music since like I think the 30s or something. And last week I was like clicking through their catalog and I was like listening to some of the songs. It was pretty cool. And I actually like heard some songs where it's like, that's a sample of that song that's so crazy that came out on Polydor. Yesterday, I'm watching a video by a guy named Van Neistat, who is Casey Neistat's brother, very popular YouTuber. They had an HBO show together like 20 years ago. It's actually pretty good. If you can find it online, watch it. And in one of his videos, for this like 2 frames, he shows this art collection that he used to like upkeep for some art. And the 2 frames of the one vinyl you see in the whole video about something not related to music, plastered across it says Polydor Records. And I'm just like, what are the odds that those 2 things show up in a week? Like, is that not kind of weird?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
this guy just started his YouTube channel. Like, it's just so weird.
I no, I mean it is. I don't have an explanation other
maybe
than
Polydor is like way more well known than
I did just
than
look.
I know about.
They have like 100,000 plus entries on Discogs.
I think like the thing about it is that I have never heard of this record label, and I feel like I know at least a decent amount about music and like major labels.
They're owned by Universal.
Yeah. Well, see, I didn't know that, but the thing is it's just like, it's just weird how things like that happen. Have you guys ever had that happen where you see something and then it shows up again? Like,
I mean,
soon thereafter, and you're just like, man, that is super bizarre because I just saw it in passing. It's on screen for like half a second.
Yeah, I mean, nothing as weird as that. I've definitely had that happen where I look into something and all of a sudden it comes up or whatever, or just very different. But today I was talking to my friend Matt about the Legend of Heroes Trails series. They have a bunch of games, and there's a couple that haven't come out in America. And I knew there was like a fan translation that was happening for a long time, but I'd looked into it a while ago, like over a year or something, when I first was starting to play the games, and they weren't done. And then Matt just said, well, finally that game is coming up in the series. Like, you should know about the game. Kind of a disappointment we don't have it. And I was like, yeah, it sucks. The translation isn't done. I went and looked, and literally yesterday they posted that they're done with the fan translation. And that's different because it's within the same realm where I would have looked it up. But that kind of coincidence type thing is very...
it's just odd to me. Like, I know it's probably like to like a musicologist, like, yeah, Polydor's fucking huge. Of course you saw it. But like the thing about it for me is the 2 places that I saw it. A really like semi-popular video game soundtrack, and then like a YouTuber that is nothing to do with Jet Set Radio.
Yeah, I mean,
like I don't know. It's just the links
Right.
are so far apart. It's like it makes me think of like, have you ever seen people speedrun Wikipedia?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just about to say that.
That's what it feels like. Like
It's
the
the,
links are so obscure.
is it the 6 or 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like that. I mean, it's like, have
So
you
much
have you
as-
ever seen people
Yeah,
speedrun
well,
Wikipedia?
I mean, not like speed run, but I knew the game
like
in
as
high
fun-
school
yeah,
too,
it's, like,
where people
fun.
would be like, start on the World War II page and get to Hello Kitty or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And whoever got it in the least clicks wins or whatever,
I don't know. I just had a moment. I was watching YouTube and I was like, I paused it and I was like, what the fuck? I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Just a weird feeling.
like you said, the 2 places that came up is weird. What I mentioned is totally different, but that's like just 2 games in the same franchise. It was just weird that it just happened yesterday, but it's funny that you even caught it in the frame. Like you said, it's like
I
2
know.
frames. So
It's such a short part. Like if you saw the video, you'd be like, where
Yeah,
the fuck is
'cause
it?
if you had seen in like the opposite order, if you'd watched that video and then saw the Jet Set Radio thing, you wouldn't have even noticed the first.
Yeah, it's just so odd that like because the cool thing about it is that I looked through Polydor's catalog for like a couple hours one day, and so it's not like it was an ad, because it could have been an ad and it was like just getting
Yeah.
targeted, but it was in a video. It was in the second video ever posted by this guy on his YouTube channel. It's just like, I don't know, just fucking, I don't know.
I'm
Well,
very upset. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be unprofessional.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I'd call that the law of attraction.
Yeah,
Which-
maybe it's not.
I mean, no offense to anyone who believes in that, but
I think it's bullshit, but
I mean, but
it's
hold
it's
on.
just it was like the only way I could
If
try and
No,
tie
I-
it together.
I
if you
get it.
think of it in the same way as like Murphy's Law, which is what the anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Yeah. Like that is obviously just like a saying to an extent. Like that's how people treat it now. The law of attraction, when you look it up, it is what Wikipedia says. It's a new thought philosophy, a pseudoscience based on the belief positive or negative thoughts bring positive or negative experiences, blah blah.
Yeah,
That
I
kinda
don't.
thing.
I don't believe
Yeah.
in pseudos. I want to make that very.
No, I
clear.
know, Mason.
I don't
I'm
believe
just
in
saying-
pseudoscience. I was just saying, like,
Yeah,
have you ever like wanted something and you think about it and then it's something out of the bounds
Yeah.
of like what you think is possible and it happens?
or
you just sounded very manifesty over here, dude.
Well, no, I'm just
Well-
saying. I'm just saying it is weird how that happens sometimes. I'm not saying there's any science behind
no.
it.
The thing that I will say
Like,
is we talk about this kind of shit all the time. I know our phones listen to us and they use
Yeah.
everything, but there has been multiple times of just us hanging out and randomly one of us gets an ad for something and either I was just thinking about it but I never Googled anything, or you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I was just looking that up the other day and somehow it come up in on my ads on Google or whatever it
Yeah.
is, and that kind of thing. Yeah, they're definitely listening to us, but when it's not,
Steve wants the beer.
no, it's I'll wait. I'll get up.
Just fucking get it right now.
All right. That kind of thing is to another extent like the law of attraction, where when you start thinking about it and it shows up, if you hadn't thought about it, you wouldn't have noticed, and it'd probably still show up in your
Yeah.
shit. But I think it's that
Have you guys ever had that happen where it's something really weird and you're like, man, I actually really wanted that to happen?
Yeah.
Like, have
I
you ever
can't- I
had
can't
that?
think of
Like,
an exact example,
Any like minuscule example? Like, it doesn't have to be law of attraction. Just a weird thing. We were like, I really wished for that, and it actually came true.
yeah, like when I play gacha games and I roll from my loot boxes of characters and then I get a character I want like real easily. I'm like, yo, I wanted that to happen, dude.
I have one other like instance of it, and it's quick. I met this guy in college through another guy, and he was a musician that I really liked. And I was always thinking in my head, like, man, I'd really like to work with that guy someday. Like, I hope that happens. And then, like, out of the blue, like 6 months later, he hit me up and he was like, hey, man, let's work together. And it's just like, it was cool. And it was just a weird moment because I was like, I remember vividly saying to myself, like, I really hope that this happens. It probably won't, but that's okay. Like, I hope it does. And it's like,
Yeah,
you know.
random.
Pseudosciences are the Earth is flat.
All right, well, we don't need to get into that discussion, but I will say one thing that this is not any fucking groundbreaking thoughts or whatever, but I remember in, I don't know if it was my statistics class in high school or just math in general, and our teacher, we were talking about coincidences. Oh my God, I can't fucking talk to it.
Dude,
coincidences.
You got it.
And it's just that things may seem like, oh, it's so crazy that I ran into you at the store or whatever on this day at this time, but it's really like, when you look at it, it's not that uncommon. We live down the road from the same store. We probably both do our same shopping at certain times, and common for people to do that. And you think it's so crazy, you run into someone you haven't seen in forever or whatever happens. But
the odds are in your favor.
Even when it's like 1 in 1,000 chances or whatever, just to give an easy, like, that's not that low compared to a lot of other stuff. So, that's why I continue to play gacha games. So, all right.
Well, I appreciate you guys listening to me on that.
Wacky slash.
So, what else?
Bruh.
I guess I got a small thing we don't have to talk about like super long, but I'm kind of excited, and we did just kind of mess around a couple weeks ago and play something similar. The new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game just got announced, Shredder's Revenge, coming to consoles and PC.
Shredder!
Dude, I mean, I don't want to read this whole thing, but basically it's side-scrolling beat 'em up, beautiful pixel art, going through everything inspired by the 1987 TV show that I used to watch.
What console?
It just says consoles. Yeah, I'm guessing it says specific consoles and release date were not announced, but they said consoles and PC. And I think it's funny. It's similar, again, side-scrolling beat 'em up. Probably going to be more like the later arcade ones than the NES one that we had recently played.
That's right. Where did we play? Where did we?
We just played it over here.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And we were just talking about old games because Sean and I had played. We had this stupid fucking like plug and play console we got at the beach, the Super Joy. You can look it up.
Dude.
It's got a Wikipedia
Super
page,
Joy.
but you plug it in.
That was kind of an epic fail.
And it was actually
What
epic.
is that?
It was an epic win. So what we had was an N64 controller looking thing that you plugged into the TV. One of the plug and plays where it had the power and then like the component cables.
The Power Player Super Joy 3, I think, was the one we had. It was a weird looking N64.
The joystick was fake. It didn't move. And
Where the fuck did you guys
we were
get
at the
this?
beach, Virginia Beach.
we
There was
went
like a
to
flea
the
market.
and no, it wasn't Virginia Beach, dude. It was when we went to Disney.
It was
Okay.
from the controller into the screen.
Yeah.
Dude.
But also, it had a Sega Genesis controller you could plug in. That was the Player 2 controller. It
And
had
the
a light
gun.
gun that you could plug in to play like Duck Hunt and stuff. And the weirdest thing that I didn't know until much later when I had Googled it was that the back of it had a slot for Famicom cartridges, the Japanese NES.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But we didn't know. I was always like, what is this? And we didn't have any games that would fit in it, obviously.
Yeah, so you can see you could plug a
And
Is it still facing?
well, I just totally knocked it so it didn't.
Is he in the right third?
He's over on this side.
one thing to mention, I guess, real quick, in
That's
case
all right.
this doesn't or does come out, we have cameras set up that we might try to use instead of the phones. But
Yes. If you're seeing us just as you have been, then it didn't work.
Yeah,
But
so-
if you see another angle or two,
Or me just bang the camera real quick.
that's why we.
then it does look good. But we're fucking around with the camera ideas.
we'll get it.
I got a super wide for the GH4, and I'm trying to figure out what the best option is. I think depending on how it looks, we might change stuff around. But yeah,
We'll see.
we'll see.
But yeah, just go back real quick.
That
Yeah,
is
this-
really cool that they're doing that.
Well, yeah, and just the Super Joy thing had like
Yeah.
36 games times like 1,000 or something. It said it had like 70,000 or 60,000 games or whatever it was, but it really had the same like 30 games a million times.
They were just reskinned.
Yeah.
Some of them had
No,
different color palettes. Some of them were exactly the same. It was weird, but basically we
You can just have it all.
played the Ninja Turtles, the first NES one on there.
It's fucking hard as
Yeah.
shit, dude. It's like the hardest game.
Yeah.
So we were looking
Yeah,
through
I
games
remember
and we
that.
played it recently for a bit, and I don't know, man. I mean, the later ones were cool. People really liked the TMNT
good.
Turtles in Time was super popular. It's just cool. It looks like the old pixel art. It's the same style as, again, like the 1987 stuff. It's not any of the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shit. And I know
That's yummy.
nowadays not everyone cares about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I used to watch the cartoon, watch those trash live action movies,
Dude,
which are
honestly
fantastic.
though, the live action
Yeah.
films, I think they've aged really well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of style is,
Because it was so absurd.
Yeah.
Like like it just was like it's really weird looking.
I just wonder if this game is going to be hard as shit.
well, I don't know. I feel like nowadays, like maybe not, because I didn't end up beating it, but I played Streets of Rage 4 was the one that just came out, which is the company publishing this put out Streets of Rage 4 as well.
Who is the publisher?
Dotemu? I don't know that I've heard of them before.
I want to say something really quickly. I think that these style of games, like a retro or a vintage style game, like I think these need to. I think I would really love if people made more, where it's strictly in the style of old games. Like, when's the last time you saw somebody make a game that looks a lot like PS1 graphics or? N64
Valheim.
graphics.
Yeah, Valheim. They've said it was like it's
but like it's
new
still
PS1.
sharp. It's
Well,
still
yeah, but
But I also feel like that has to do with the fact that our displays are so much higher resolution now. Like if you were to play one of these games on a CRT, it's gonna look bad, right?
Well,
like,
yeah. When I think about the graphics and the play style of PS1, I think of Tomb Raider, and that game was iconic, and it had a very like low poly.
you're talking about them triangle titties. You want to see it come back there?
The triangle joints.
well,
Like
I will say this though: the reason why is because most people are not going to buy a game that looks like that. Sprite art, like 8-bit and 16-bit graphics, still do well because they look good, but that 3D style that aged out is because people are going to be like, dude, why do I want to play this game? Looks like a PS1.
Well, my only rebuttal to that, because I think for the most part you're correct.
I don't care. I would play a
Is,
game if it's fun.
Like, how many people would kill to have a copy of Final Fantasy VII?
I mean, yeah, you can still buy
That-
it, but that's
yeah,
different.
But I mean, those graphics were shit.
Yeah, but if
Like,
they came out with Final Fantasy 16 and it looked like that,
honestly,
on the name alone, people would probably still
be
pick it
pretty
up.
sick.
But I think that like if a new franchise came out, I mean, there are some. If you look at what is it, Tokyo Games Factory, the team that made I Am Setsuna and Lost Sphere, they've been making some of these like older style games. Or if you saw Bravely Default, they have that like kind of chibi, not super great looking 3D art style that like looks clean for what it is, right? Like it looks better than it would have back then, but they're not going for large awesome character models. Or you look at what they're doing with the new Pokemon remakes that people are torn on the art style. Like people go for that and make it artsy and not just like, hey, we're gonna make shitty graphics to look like old PS1 games, and people flip out about it and say, why didn't you make it like Sword and Shield?
Yes,
So-
you're right. The only thing I would say is that there's this artist named Anders Lundbjork, and he made a video. You might have seen it on Twitter. It was Cyberpunk 2077, but
Yeah.
it's for PS1.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
did
I'm gonna
see
put
that.
it. I'm gonna like loop it on screen right now. But that is an awesome video, and I just think there is I think there's new facets of the game industry that could branch into these indie game devs making games that look like, even if they were filtered to actually look fuzzier. Like, I think that would be really cool. I don't know. I see these and I'm just like, man, that's so fucking cool.
I think that there is a place for it for sure, and some games do it like that. I saw one for Bloodborne that was the same, like PS1 or 2 style, and it's cool, and people do all these like demake things where they'll take and make it look like a Game Boy Advance game or some shit or whatever, not a full game, but that stuff is cool, and I think that there are indie games that go and do it and try to emulate a style. Like the Hat in Time pretty much made that trying to look like what an old N64 game might look like, right? I mean, the same collectathon style, but I think the game has to stand out or be a genre like the collectathon that is not what people play a lot anymore, and evoke something nostalgic in order to win people over. Because if a 10-year-old is playing a new game and he's got a choice between the newest whatever Call of Duty or whatever, and it looks great, and Cyberpunk PS1, he's probably not going to pick the one that he never played, right?
Yeah. No, I think about Yooka Laylee when I think about like the collectathons that came back and didn't really do that well, because I mean that was, I think, a Kickstarter project, and everyone was so excited about it because they were getting a lot of the same people back, and as far as I remember, it was kind of a flop.
I mean, there's been a
The
lot.
second one I heard is a lot better.
That's like a 2D like
yeah,
Donkey
I
Kong.
have it, and I don't like it.
The 2D
You
one.
can have it. It's called Yooka-Laylee and the Independent Lair, I think.
Something-
Or is there a Yooka-Laylee 2?
No, you're right. It's I don't know what it is, but
I got a copy because I thought it was the original.
no. So
I was like, shit, this is not the game that I thought it was.
well, that though is people have said is actually really good. So
The Independent Lair game?
the 2D side scrolling,
Yeah, see, I was
it's something layer. I feel like it's not independent. Sean, you gotta
Is it the
you looking that up?
Impossible Lair?
Yeah, the Impossible Lair.
Impossible
Yeah.
Lair.
I heard that game was good.
Yeah, everyone said
Dude,
it's good.
I played it for like a half hour and I was like, that's what I said. Nothing happened.
Soundboard failing you.
Oh.
You
I'll tell
muted
you
it?
why. It's because I fucking muted. I'm such an
There you
idiot.
go.
That was going to be such a good drop. I would have said
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
at GameStop, and I said because I didn't like it. You guys can take it. I'm pretty sure I still have it.
I mean,
If you
I'm
want
not
it.
gonna.
I got a million games to
I got
play.
a
but-
physical.
I'm not gonna take it. I just was saying. I heard it was
I don't know if I
good.
can take it.
Um,
Who'd you hear was good from?
The internet. I mean, I
yeah,
don't know. I don't
a lot
know
of
anyone
people
that's
liked it.
yeah.
I just want the OG.
Well, you can try it. I mean, you're right that I heard
Do you
that
have?
wasn't
Do either
great.
of you have the
No.
original?
Nah.
I just
Yeah,
I think that
I can't find
a
it.
lot of those games try to do it, and it's not that they can't. You can't make a good one. Like people seem to like A Hat in Time. I've never played either, but I'm just saying that I think some of it's you can kind of miss the mark. You know, people they were trying to basically make Banjo-Kazooie, and I heard like the humor was kind of similar of the time where it was like references and things that are dated as fuck now, but a game coming out now can't do that. And the gameplay was okay, but it was like kind of tedious. I think the magic of it is a little bit gone. I mean, I know you love Banjo-Tooie and we loved Banjo-Kazooie, but when I go back and play them, I feel like if not for the nostalgia, I don't know that I would sit through them again.
Honestly, dude, they're pretty good the second time around. Just for, I mean, do you remember how you felt when you saw that Ninja Turtle game? You were like, "Fuck, dude, I haven't seen or played this in a long
Yeah.
time." That's the same with Banjo for me. It's like there's so many weird memories about the soundtrack, and like that's what I thought was cool about Yooka-Laylees. They got Grant Kirkhope back, which was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is cool. I just feel like, you know, a lot of these games that come back and try to do similar things to, I guess, the historical games that they're taking from, fail to update it for the modern times. I feel like that's kind of what I heard Yooka-Laylee did. I don't really know, but there's definitely games that do it correctly where they know that people want it to feel like an old game but not play like an old game.
Well, one thing that I was gonna say is like it is cool to have those graphics, but what made those games good were the stories and were the like everything around it, not really the graphics. Ocarina of Time is a great game because it's a great story and the maps are cool and the items are cool. Link, it looks like shit in that game. Like both like young and old, like he looks like shit. Like his character model's terrible. But the game's really good. It it feels good to play it. So I think that's really the divide. That's how you want to piece it together, is like make a great story and have a great like campaign or whatever it is, and then you can try and do something unique with the graphics. I don't know. I just feel like there's so many games that are like look pristine, and it's like, why not? Let's go back a little bit,
I think you're right, and
Let's send it back.
if they have a good like catch to the game, the graphics don't matter, and some people may even buy into it more if it looks old. The one thing I think about, I talked about a while back on Debuff, is there's been a lot of these Kickstarter games that didn't do well. Mighty Number 9 was Mega Man, and that fucking flopped, and people hated on. But
Dude, yeah.
yeah, Bloodstained.
We don't talk about that on this
That's
podcast.
Sorry.
that's a Crowdcat video.
Hold on.
Cushborn.
No, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night.
That was supposed to be Castlevania.
And it is good. And then they came out with these like Castlevania 2 style like NES style games that were completely different spin-offs, but people loved those too, and it's very much the same style of the Castlevania 2 type, whereas the Kickstarter one that started it all was more like Symphony of the Night PS1. The graphics were way different on the Symphony of the Night style one, with the Castlevania 2 straight up looks like old games, and it's really cool because
I think it's cool.
I mean, I don't know. I do enjoy the 8-bit, 16-bit style games like Axiom Verge. Like that was a really cool way to, make a Metroidvania type game, but brand new. Like the way you just like phase through walls in that game is pretty cool. I never finished it. I should go back and finish it, but I don't know. I think you're right, Steve, where it's going to be that true retro style game is what succeeds in the future, whereas like the low poly shit is just, I mean, if you're gonna make a 3D game, you might as well make it look good.
Yeah, I just think that there's more enthusiasts than we're giving credit for.
I agree with you.
You
I
know?
just feel like when companies go to make a game, unless it's low budget, the enthusiast market is not.
I think about Cuphead. I think about how much of a success
that's way
that
different.
was.
Yeah, that's not bad
but
old
it's,
art.
I don't think it's that different. It's a certain art style that was done well, and it does look good, but it was hand drawn.
Yeah,
and
but
that was what like they made an awesome like almost like Mario style game, but like made it really super difficult, and they made it look like Disney and like Disney's 40 cartoons. I don't know, man. I think that's a perfect test case.
I think that's way different.
It's a different. I think that's different than what you're saying.
They wouldn't have been able to make
Why?
a game look like that on N64 or PS1.
Yeah, I'm just saying like
that's
you
different.
You don't think that
that's art direction
that couldn't have run like
I would say
on PS2.
I would say that if you looked at Valheim and you played it on a CRT, you'd probably say this looks like PS1. Because it does look very much like PS1.
Yeah, I get that.
I
haven't seen enough of it to.
It's
to have.
very low. I mean, it's not Minecraft level pixelated, but like all of the trees and the grass are all very low poly. Your character's pretty like polygonal. I don't know if that's the word.
Polygonal. Is it
like chunky?
I saw some videos. Does it kind of have a World of Warcraft look?
I would say
like as far as
worse.
texturing and like.
I mean, sure,
It's
but
hard to see in screenshots, because it looks better in these smaller screenshots. But it is definitely like when I'm playing it looks pretty. Like,
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, it looks shitty. Like,
so here's what I will say. One thing
Oh,
is
so you started to play Valheim?
oh, I did. So yeah, I mean, like, look at the character. Oh, sorry, I did it again.
Yeah, dude, I'm getting total World of Warcraft vibes, but everything's a little glowier.
See how like there's like the smoke is like just pixels, the fire's just pixels.
Yeah.
But there's cool things like the lighting and draw distance and all that stuff would never have been PS1, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Save that
but
photo.
I'm just saying, I think art direction, like Cuphead, that's way different than just having games that look like old school games, because people do like pixel art still, right? That's why a lot of indie games are 16-bit, 8-bit. A lot of that stuff isn't easier to do than making like a 3D sprite and having it go 2D, right? Like the art for pixel art is hard, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like for me, I don't give a shit about the graphics, quote unquote. Art direction is cool. Like people love how Breath of the Wild looks. That's not the like best looking game, but it has a great style. So you don't need it to be 4K and have like crazy detailed textures because the style is great.
Yeah, I get that. I don't know. I guess that's what I want.
No, I mean, I do think there's a market for it, and there are definitely games. I just think for people that are making something, when you go, they want it to be, it comes up on Steam, you look at it and you're like, this looks interesting. There's going to be few people that are like, oh, dude, an RPG that looks like Final Fantasy VII with these shitty blocky characters. Yo, I'm in.
Well, let me ask you this. This is actually hopefully something that you guys are going to be like, yeah, actually, that's a good point. What, in your opinion, does Among Us look like to you? The art
Flash
style.
game.
It
Yeah,
looks
Flash.
like Newgrounds.
Yeah, for sure.
Flash games. Is that not a test case, or is this
Okay, that was kind of an epic fail.
an epic fail?
I mean, we can argue about art styles in video games all day.
Yeah, I think what you're saying maybe is a little bit different, where I'm happy to play games that don't have like the best graphics, right? I'll play
Yeah.
Among Us. No one bought Among Us because they were like, dude, the graphics for this evoke something in me.
Honestly,
Among Us.
it is cool though. It
yeah, it
reminds
is.
me of like 2005.
I
on the
agree.
internet, you know?
Yeah, I do think that for some of us, Lena never experienced that. She fucking loves that game. You know what I mean? Like it. So I just don't know that style of like awful
Low poly, like
low poly.
Yeah, it's low poly.
Characters are not going to be something that I think probably takes off ever, because if you're gonna make a 3D game, most people are gonna shoot to make it look good. Maybe in 10 years we're all wrong. I'm wrong here. Like it could be that the people who would be interested in those games are now just the ones who are like, oh, let's make a game that looks like that, right? I don't know.
again, there is a space for it where something like Valheim's, I think, a good example of what you're trying to say, where I looked at it at first and I was like, oh, all right, like, looks cool, but my friend said, check it out. I looked at it more and like, okay, well, it sounds interesting. A lot of people are talking about it. And the art style or the graphics, whatever, didn't initially grab me, but when you play it, I mean, it looks fine. I don't care if it's, realistic character models. And some parts of the design is cool, like I said, the lighting and shit, but
And I think that's the point, is that it doesn't matter if it looks good. It's if it's fun.
I don't think that games should
That's Nintendo's
specifically
whole fucking thing.
I don't think that people should specifically go like for that.
Yeah, no.
one.
I guess my point is, and we don't have to talk about it anymore.
I'm very upset. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be unprofessional.
I know you got a lot of nostalgia, man. I'm not trying to hate on that, but
I see the low barrier to entry that game development is. Like, you can be a team
Well,
of 5
and nowadays
and sell
it's
3 million copies in the first 2 weeks.
I
Or is
think
that
there's
what
a
it was?
lot more that you just gave. You gave very little credit there, is I guess what I'm trying to say, to game developers. So
I will
it's
say
Well,
that it's a lot easier to get
I'm
into
saying,
now,
yeah,
for
it's,
sure.
It's I'm not saying you
It's
like,
easy.
It's
Yeah.
easy by any means. I'm saying like the software and the like access to
I'm just gonna download Blender when I get
mean,
home. Make
well,
a
that's
video
what I'm
game.
saying.
Anyone can do
it's
it
free.
if you maybe have to dedicate years of your life.
Yeah,
but
I'm not saying making games is easy. I'm saying like having the resources is a bit easier than it used to be. Like, you used to have to really hurdle some shit to be able to make a game, and now it's like, you can, like, there's this like sound effects making thing for like digital games called BFXR, and it like makes a sample pack for your game, and it's free, and it's like,
I mean, you can
that's
go
so cool.
download RPG Maker
yeah,
and make games, which is what like Undertale was made in, right? Like, you don't need, that's basically what, $100 and something engine that you just buy. I don't know what the latest version costs,
Yeah,
but like,
I'm saying barrier to entry. I'm not saying like I'm not discrediting
Yeah, I know what you're
Sounds
saying.
like you are, dude.
yeah, but
I'm very upset. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be
you're saying-
unprofessional.
there should be, with more people having access, there should be more room for people to come in and have games that look like these old ones and whatnot. And I agree with you. I just think that when people try to put out games, you'll see shit on Steam. I know you don't PC game, but if you on Xbox, it's similar and stuff, Switch as well. But Steam's notorious for scrolling through piles of like, trash games. And
Yeah.
some of them people put out probably weren't like, oh, I'm going to make a ton of money. They were just getting experience and they put something together, and maybe it does look like ass. And there are people out there that play games that look like shit specifically because they think it's a blast, but I don't think they're going to be on like Steam's top page selling 5 million copies.
Yeah, just think about how many
Drunken
game,
Wrestler 2, dude. That
I
game
just-
fucking slaps.
Well, that's different.
I just think about how many game jams there are like every
Yeah.
2 months, and I'm like, man, I would like to see more 90s, early 2000s looking games. I think that'd be really cool.
So
I'm done.
Yeah, we'll circle back to that later. No, go
Put a
ahead.
pin in that.
I did have something I wanted to ask you guys. Did you hear about OVHCloud and their fire in their data center?
No.
OVH.
OVHCloud.
Should
what
I
is
know
that?
who that is? What that is?
They are a data center, global cloud service provider. OVHCloud had a fire in one of their in
Oh my God.
one of their data centers. I think it hit a few of them that were close by. I could be wrong about that. It went in Strasbourg, France. Guess who was hosting some of their data there?
Who, me?
Not you.
I don't know. I was on the Wikipedia article and they said WikiLeaks was hosting stuff
Who's
there before.
who's storing data there? Me or you? No, wait, who is
Whose
it?
story is this on the podcast? Me or you?
Little LPC for you guys.
Wait, who is it?
Rust.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
And basically, Rust was able to, within 4 hours of them knowing about the fire, it had been 11 hours total, 4 hours of them knowing that it happened, be able to spin up servers over 100 kilometers away, 1,000 kilometers away. But that was because of offsite backups and data replication. They were not storing user progression. So anyone
that's
whose
good.
shit was stored is
That sucks.
basically fucking gone.
What do you know? What they were storing there? Like assets or what?
No, so
profiles
Rust,
or-
as far as I understand it, the way you play Rust is it's very similar to WoW, where you have PvP servers, so you join a server and that's the server you live on, essentially. I think WoW you can still transfer between servers. Rust probably has a way to do that too.
I don't think. Maybe you can now, but I thought you couldn't in WoW. Anyways,
I've
it's
never
different.
played WoW, so
Rust is also it's a survival game and similar to Valheim, except PvP is a bigger thing on there. And I think if you die, you might be able to go get your stuff, but if someone kills you, they're probably jacking your shit. So I don't know what progression you have in Rust other than...
Yeah, so they were saying that as far as the servers, Facepunch had both local and on-site backups as well as offsite backups, but player progression data was not backed up offsite.
So what did they back up?
Just probably the server itself. So
The maps are there,
yeah.
but your stuff is gone?
Yeah.
Oh, so whoa. So they did lose player progression. Oh, I thought you said they saved that.
No. So,
So
like,
everybody
probably
just got
everyone
fucked.
who was on those servers in that specific data center basically does not have their shit anymore.
Yeah, that sucks.
So, I
That
never really
sucks.
thought about it. I work in IT. I obviously know how important offsite backups are. I just always assumed that every fucking video game that has an online system is doing it correctly. And I'm not saying that, these guys fucked up. It sounds like they had everything in place for disaster recovery, except for probably the most important part is player progression data.
How often does it actually happen though that
Well,
a
Right, a
fucking
fire in a data
fire
center
breaks out?
I mean, it's all electricity in there. It's all fucking hot servers. It's not unlikely, but to have a fire and have something to extinguish that fire should be number one priority in a data center. And I don't know anything about OVH and how they run their data centers, but that's just pretty I think about Destiny, dude. I can't imagine that happening with Destiny. It totally could though.
Yeah,
yeah, I
absolutely.
think that part of it too is I know Rust is a shit. I'm not saying they haven't made a ton of money, but it is still a small
Yeah.
team. It's not like it's Bungie who.
Well, Face Punch, right? Who,
Yeah, I don't
no
know.
one's
Never
really
heard of 'em.
no one's like Face Punch did his best fucking games.
But yeah, I mean that
Sucks,
blows.
man.
They're the guys who did Gary's mod, I think, though.
Oh, I think you told me that. For OVH, I'll say
Okay, that was kind of an epic fail.
A little
Yeah.
bit.
I just feel like when you play a game, even with an account, that's all your shit saved on there. I mean, I do think about what happens if you get hacked. Most people don't have two-factor on a lot of their stuff
Yeah.
they should, but my Steam account, I get annoyed where a lot of times when you log in again, it hasn't happened to me in a while, but it would be like, hey, we don't recognize this computer, and I'm like, I literally use this computer exclusively,
Yeah.
but because I didn't use the browser in forever, it doesn't know.
that happens with my bank account.
But I'm thankful that they are doing that, right? Because if someone hacked my Steam account and I couldn't get it back, which I have heard in the past that Steam's not the greatest about helping people recover, I mean, I'd lose tons of dollars worth of games that maybe I haven't played all of them, but one day I plan to, and I don't want to lose that. That kind of
Bro,
shit
you need
sucks.
to turn on that 2-factor, bruv.
Well, I mean,
He
it
has
has
it on.
I'm just
Oh.
saying that, like, I think about that all the time.
Bro,
that-
you fucked
Instead
up.
of the email, you can use the Steam mobile app to get a code, which is a lot more convenient. But
I have the app too, but
I don't know. It sucks.
I feel
like-
bad for them, man.
Yeah,
Because is it really Rust's fault? Or
no,
is
I
it-
mean, dude, that's a freak accident.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's anyone to blame necessarily, but like, yeah, to have a fucking data center catch on fire is a pretty big deal. I'm sure they're not the only client, who was storing their data there,
That's a good point.
who probably had a fucking fiasco that day. But Rust was the one that made the news because player progression is fucking gone for anyone who's living on those servers.
That blows, dude.
So I started playing Katamari Damacy
Yeah.
today. I put about an hour into it. It's hard.
Yeah, some of the time
I-
limits are not easy.
I know this is what I say every time, but like, like the first couple levels are like reasonable, but then it goes from like, okay, get 5 millimeter or
Yeah,
centimeters, get 7, get 10, and then it's like, get a meter.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
Would you
This
like
is way
to
more.
explain the game for people that
Yeah,
don't know
okay,
Katamari,
so,
since you've been playing it?
So, I was riding around town with Sean last week to find No Man's Sky for Xbox One, and we went to like 5 stores and I couldn't find it, and I was upset. And so I went out the next day, and I was going to.
It's like 5 years old, but
But you go to like GameStop and they
I
have
know.
like, like motocross bike
because no one's
2020.
ever bought that off their shelves.
I know,
Yeah,
but it's like
The used and
fuck,
abused
dude.
section.
And so I went to Warrenton to get my hair cut, and I was like, I'm gonna stop at Walmart. I'm just gonna see if they have No Man's Sky. They I know they won't, but I'm gonna look. And
You
I was-
can check store availability too, right?
yeah, but dude, sometimes it like there's no way Katamari Damacy was on fucking Walmart's
It might be.
website. It usually says unknown.
Well, I'm just saying that's how I found my PlayStation TV. Was it had Walmart's listed? They had one, and I went in, and the guy was like, "Dude, we've had this for like 4 years."
And so I was going and I was looking through the used games, or not the used games, the like discounted ones, because like maybe it'll be in here because it's old. And I found Katamari Damacy Reroll for Nintendo Switch for $20, and on the eShop it was $30. So I was like, okay, it's a good deal. I'll take it. And I had heard about it from Metal Jesus Rocks video some years back, because he was like, if you're gonna play, I think it was on PS2.
I think
It's
that's
a-
the
it's a-
first one came
It's a
out on
Bandai
PS2.
Namco game, so I think it was on PS2. And he's like, if you're gonna have PS2 games, these are the ones you got to get. And it looked really interesting. I was like, this is a kind of a goofy game.
Yeah,
And dude, the dialogue and
It's
the
all weird.
music is really out
it's like a
there.
fever dream, dude.
Yeah. It's like that really, I mean, I'm assuming it was made by a Japanese company. Is Bandai Namco Japanese? Dude, some of that Japanese humor is pretty fucking off the wall. It's super cheesy and quirky. So I played it for a little while, and I like it so far. The controls are a little bit difficult.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
think that's part of the game
Yeah.
though. Is like
I almost wish it was just one stick.
yeah. I mean, I don't know.
I constantly feel like I'm like
I
getting
think you
out
can
of
use the
whack.
gyroscope too.
Oh yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, that's actually a good idea. I like it so far, but yeah, I think it's difficult.
Well, okay. So when I originally asked, I appreciate the backstory. Do you want to explain how the game works too, though? Like, because you're saying the controls and stuff, and
Made by Bandai
talking about
Namco.
millimeter, and then you have to do a meter, like.
Walkie slush.
So,
Because it is really weird, and the gameplay, if
It's
you've not
super
seen it,
weird.
is nothing like probably you've ever played before.
Essentially, you have something called a Katamari. Which, do you know what the translation of that is?
No, dude, I don't
Can
know.
somebody look that up?
Clump spirit.
Clump
Katamari
spirit?
Damacy. It says Katamari Damacy, literally clump spirit. I don't know if Katamari is clump.
Well, you get this like COVID-19 looking ball, and it
Just
looks
infect
like
the whole fucking world.
it looks like a germ.
What's that Flash game? The pandemic Flash game?
Pandemic. Oh, Yeah, isn't it called like
Yeah.
kill everything?
Katamari means clump or clod.
Yeah, so you get like this ball with like spikes on it, and
Pandemic.
You have
just called
this.
Pandemic.
Yeah, you have this little guy with like a cylinder head, and
Super
it's a
fucking
really
weird.
cute. It's a cute character, and you roll it around, and you start like tiny, like a centimeter or something like that, and you try and pick things up like thumbtacks and like erasers and like screws, and the more that you add, the clump gets bigger, and you can start to progressively pick up bigger things. And it's hard but the beauty of it is the way that the level scales is so amazing. I don't know how they did that.
Yeah, no, it's
Like,
really cool.
It's almost like a trick, because you're like, that was tiny like 30 seconds ago, and now it's like or that was huge and now it's tiny. It's pretty interesting. I recommend it. I think it's difficult. Just be prepared for that.
Yeah, they are cool.
I think the other one that I was referencing was called Plague Inc.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Dude, that was like number one on the fucking iPhone
the
App
App
Store
Store
for like 10 years.
Yeah. I didn't. I've never really looked through Bandai Namco's.
They make a ton of shit,
yeah.
dude.
The
What
one,
are they most known for? Because I've seen it before.
Dark Souls, right? They
Well,
published that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they publish it, but
Where would I have seen it? Because I haven't played.
Bandai is a brand of toys.
yeah, but they merge. Namco is like Pac-Man and shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
okay.
And Bandai
Yeah, there it
Namco is a
is.
merger,
Yeah.
and like so a lot of arcade games. But
Did you play Mobile Suit Gundam Battle Operation 2? PlayStation 4?
I
I
don't.
kind of want to play this now.
That's a fucking
might give me
mouthful.
a reason to fucking get a game on the fucking PlayStation.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
6v6 battle team online battles.
Is that the one I bought?
Free to play game.
Oh, it's free to play.
Yeah.
I don't know. I played a few. I had one Gundam game that you watched me play, and it was like kind of hard. I don't know if that was.
They got Project Cars, dude.
Yeah, well,
Mr. Driller Drill Land.
Project Calls.
Bandai Namco has a lot of shit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Dude, there's a PC one Gundam fucking generation.
Dude,
God damn it, dude.
not all the Gundam games are good.
I know,
will
but I
throw that out
want
there.
a good Gundam game, man.
Dude, the Gundam Breakers games are fun. Those are like your Gunpla, and you can build your own like mechs and stuff, and do battle with them.
Is that some kind of jibber jabber or something?
Were you never into Gundam?
I just know the like the action figures.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool.
Hell yeah. Gundam's like,
Soul Calibur.
you ever want to get the history of animation, go watch like one scene from every Gundam anime and see the progression.
I want to say something about the bruh button. I've been watching H3 podcasts a little bit more lately, and to be honest with you, I would watch Frenemies. I think it's pretty good. I know that's crazy, and I know this is completely out of left field. Have you heard of this Frenemies?
I know what it is, man. I just kind of
don't like Trisha, dude.
Dude.
He shits on her a lot, which is funny.
Well, dude, I didn't like her at first. Watch it with Danielle. Maddie and I started watching it together, and she's like, I fucking love Trisha. She is so bizarre. Dude, she had this moment on one of the last episodes where she was talking about like...
Was it the milk and cow thing?
Well, no, she was talking about how she's published a bunch of books. Or no, Ethan was like... He was like, wait, you have 9 self-help books? And she was like, yeah. And he was like, how the fuck did you write all those? And she was like, I don't know. I didn't even proofread them. And it's so funny. Maddie and I thought it was so funny. The thing about Trisha is like, she does seem like super fake, but she's actually like, she's pretty real.
There's
She's
so much drama.
She's true in her like California Valley Girl vibe. Like she is not trying to be anything she isn't. And I think her dynamic with Ethan is really fucking funny. And the reason all this came up, H3 podcast has been abusing the bruh button. Like every couple sentences, it's just bruh. And I think it's so funny.
I mean, I will say I've got nothing against them. I just didn't really like the podcast as much. I used to watch it all the time, but I just felt like it wasn't.
I stopped
don't know.
watching it for a while.
Yeah, I just wasn't laughing as much. I missed their like old content.
Yeah,
I could give it a shot.
I
but-
do miss old H3 Productions stuff, but I think Trisha is a little problematic part of the reason why I don't enjoy her.
I'm telling you, dude.
she's very
just
much
watch
she's
one
very
of them.
much on that, what I'm saying, that Keemstar drama alert level
She's on
fucking
that
person.
She's on that makeup YouTuber, beauty YouTuber.
I honestly
That
don't know
mukbang.
shit about her, so
She's just like she used to be like in the David Dobrik vlogs. They've been shitting on David Dobrik lately, which is awesome because I fucking can't stand that guy.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm telling you, she shits on David for like every episode. I'm telling you, just watch one of them.
I mean, okay, maybe I will. I've watched
Hannah
clips
put me on to
that
them.
I would have laughed at. I've watched
Highlights,
clips. They show up on my fucking TikTok every once in a while.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're funny. They do pick a funny part to show me that makes me want to watch it, but maybe we should start a TikTok.
Yeah, let me edit like fucking 9 more videos each week.
Why don't you clip that?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Why don't you
clip-
TikTok that?
I'm gonna clip this and be like H3 podcast, frenemies, problems, good, bad, like whatever.
Does it suck? Put a red circle around me.
Yeah, does it suck? And
Does
then
Steve
just put,
hate it?
Just put like Ethan, like,
It was pretty funny when you did the one clickbait.
Wacky
yeah.
slash.
For which one? Oh, the Craig.
Yeah.
Dude, that was a good video. All right,
Yeah.
In terms of fails, that was pretty epic.
let's get out of here.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. As always, this has been Debuff. We'll be back next week. Check us out on Instagram at DebuffPod. Check out the video version on Rixie's YouTube channel if you haven't yet. If you haven't, you've been sleeping.
If you're listening to the audio, I just come watch the video. You don't even have to watch it. Just like keep it on in the background.
No, just check it out.
Give us
'cause-
those views.
No, but I mean, Mason's been doing a lot.
Just
with
watch the whole thing. Don't even blink.
Just open your eye. Just don't. Yeah.
the clips and stuff. It's, putting in some work. So check it out. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Good talk, guys.
Thanks.
See ya.
Debuff is hosted by me, Steve Skeels, edited and mixed by Mason Carlton. Follow us on Instagram at DebuffPod. That's DebuffPod. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next one.